You just spent 2 days configuring a perfect Fiori launchpad in your development system, custom catalogs, curated groups, a brand new Spaces and Pages layout, app variants tailored for every role. Then you transport it to quality assurance and half the tiles are missing. 2 target mappings point to the wrong OData service and the Spaces page shows a blank screen. Sound familiar? Fiori transport is one of the most error-prone areas in SAP operations, and it does not have to be. In the next 6 minutes, you will learn how to manage the end-to-end lifecycle of Fiori artifacts, from development through quality assurance to production. Before we talk about transporting Fiori content, let us map what needs to be transported. A complete Fiori deployment involves at least, first, catalogs and groups. These are configured in transaction/n/SAUI2/FLPD_CUST and define which tiles users can see. Second, Spaces and Pages, the modern Launchpad layout objects that replace classic groups. Third, Target Mappings, the routing rules that connect a tile tap to the correct Fiori app. Fourth, App Variants, saved configurations created by key users through the layered repository. Fifth, ICF services, the Internet Communication Framework nodes that host the UI5 applications. And sixth, PFCG roles, the authorization objects that bind users to catalogs and spaces. Miss any one of these, and your Launchpad will look broken in the target system. The key insight is that Fiori transport is not a single transport. It is an ensemble that must arrive together. Catalogs and groups are the backbone of the classic Fiori launchpad. They are maintained in transactions/UI2/FLPD_CUST, which stores them as customizing entries in client-dependent tables. When you create or modify a catalog, the system prompts you to assign a customizing transport request. Use one transport per catalog change to keep the scope clear. Avoid bundling unrelated catalog changes into a single request, because a failed import will roll back the entire request. A common pitfall is the delta versus full snapshot question. By default, the system transports the entire catalog. If 2 developers modify the same catalog in parallel, the second transport overwrites the first. The solution is either strict change ownership, one person owns each catalog at a time, or using the /UI2/FLPCA content aggregation tool to merge changes before transport. Spaces and Pages are the modern Launchpad layout model introduced in SAP S/4HANA 2020. They replace classic groups with a more flexible page-based structure. Transporting Spaces and Pages uses the same customizing transport mechanism, but the objects are stored in different tables. The caveat is that every tile on a page references a target mapping, and every target mapping references an OData service and an ICF node. If you transport the page but forget the target mapping, the tile shows an error icon. The safe approach is to use the Manage Launchpad Pages app in combination with the transport integration. When you save a page, the system detects all referenced target mappings and offers to include them in the same transport. And always verify in the target system by opening transaction/UI2/FLPD_CUST and checking that the target mapping's semantic object and action resolve correctly. Fiori apps themselves, the SAP UI5 code, are deployed to the UI5 application repository on the ABAP front-end server. These are not customizing objects. They are transported using the NOWI transport. CTS Plus extends the traditional ABAP transport system to handle non-ABAP artifacts. When a developer deploys a UI5 app from SAP Business Application Studio or from the command line using the UI5 tooling CLI, The system creates a CTS Plus transport request. This request contains the entire UI5 application as a binary package. Two critical settings. First, make sure the CTS Plus destination in your development system points to the correct transport directory. Second, configure the transport route in transaction STMS so that UI5 transports follow the same route as your ABAP transports. A mismatch here causes apps to appear in development but vanish after transport. The final piece of the puzzle is the PFCG role. Roles bind users to catalogs, spaces, and authorization objects. Without the correct transport, users in the target system cannot see any of the Fiori content you just moved. PFCG roles are transported as standard customizing objects. The transport includes the role menu, authorization profile, and, critically, the catalog and space assignments embedded in the role. The gotcha: if you transport a role that references a catalog and that catalog has it in the target system, the assignment silently fails. The role imports successfully, but the catalog link is broken. The fix is simple. Establish a transport sequence. Step 1, ICF services. Step 2, UI5 apps via CTS Plus. Step 3, catalogs, groups, and target mappings. Step 4, spaces and pages. Step 5, PFCG roles. Follow this order every time. One of the most debated topics in Fiori transport is whether to use delta or full snapshot transports. A delta transport carries only the changes you made, one new tile added to a catalog, for example. It is lightweight and fast, but if someone else made changes to the same catalog that were not transported yet, you might overwrite them. A full snapshot transport carries the entire catalog or page as it exists in the source system. It is safer for ensuring consistency, but it is heavier and can accidentally revert changes that were made directly in the target system, which should not happen but sometimes does. The recommended approach is full snapshots for initial deployment and major changes, combined with strict change ownership. For minor updates, adding a single tile to an existing catalog, a delta transport is acceptable as long as you verify in the target system immediately after import. And use the /UI2/FLPCA content aggregation tool to compare source and target before transporting. It shows you exactly what will change. Here is your transport checklist. First, map all 6 artifact types for every Fiori deployment. Second, establish a fixed transport sequence: ICF services, UI5 apps, catalogs, target mappings, spaces and pages, then PFCG roles. Third, use the content aggregation tool to compare source and target before every transport. Fourth, verify in the target system immediately after import. Open the Launchpad, click every tile, and confirm navigation works. Fiori transport is not hard, it is just tedious. Follow the sequence, verify every time, and your Launchpad will look the same in production as it does in development.